And welcome back to another episode of the Million Dollar Coach Program podcast. I forgot what I was going to say then. One of my favorite conversations of the week with two of my favorite humans, Sam and Ash. Let's not tell Tony. It's okay. I don't know that he listens. It's
Let's
okay.
tell
He'll never
Tony.
know. Yeah, let's tell him actually.
Let's tell Tony.
I'll send him the link. Everybody, message Tony. Tell him that these are my favorite humans of the
Yeah.
week. No, it's early in the week. It's going to be a long week for me if we do that. But here we are again. Last week, much excitement. We spoke about launching the Six-Figure Coach Seminar, which is going to be in Atlanta at the end of March. The registrations are now live, and the link is in the show notes as well as on all of our socials. So spots are very limited. I know Ash and Sam are super, super pumped to roll that out. And we're super excited for the content. We're going to change some lives with that one. So you don't want to miss out being part of the first one. Like, you'll get FOMO. Like, get in, walk, crawl, fly, boat, carry a pigeon, whatever you need to do to get to CrossFit downtown Atlanta, get there.
Yeah.
Because I think today's topic, if people haven't decided that they need to do this, go to this seminar, I think after today's topic, and we get a little bit real with things, then they're probably going to go, oh, that sounds like me. I probably need to go do that. And the feedback I've been getting on the podcast is that it's really resonating in the coach community about some of the stuff, and some of the topics we've talked about, and they are appreciating our honesty, openness, and vulnerability. So, and I know we're going to bring that to the table today because it's somewhat of a touchy topic that everybody avoids, but we are going to just rip that Band-Aid right off that bad boy today. Today, we are talking about what it's like being a broke coach. And there's a lot of psychological ramifications. It can lead to a whole heap of, rabbit holes of imposter syndrome and feeling like a fraud and helping people, but meanwhile you can't afford to pay your bills and all of this sort of stuff. And no one ever actually talks about it, because if you look at everyone on Instagram, they're like super successful, they're hustling, they're grinding, life's great, I'm doing all of these things. But in reality, probably not. And it's, the vanilla highlights. So I know that I have experienced it, and I know that, you guys have some experiences to share as well. So let's dig in and, see where we go.
Oh, that's a lot. It's like, where do you start with all that? But
I was going to say, Ash, do you want to lead off on that?
Yeah.
Ladies first.
Beulah, does anyone want to go?
Yeah. You talk about getting real and vulnerable. God, there's so many levels to this. I'm trying to quickly decide where to start. All right. Well, I'll go back to my first round of imposter syndrome when I actually got my level 1 and was coaching my first, CrossFit classes. Even there, I have been doing work in the fitness world on some capacity ever since I was in high school. I stood next to our speed and agility and our strength coaches and learned from them. So I've always been on a coaching platform of some kind. It's like I was just drawn to it, like a moth to a flame. But every time I learned something new, when I got, my yoga 200 hour, when I got my CrossFit level 1, it doesn't matter. The first time you stand up, it's scary. You feel like, what the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
Yeah.
So I just feel like imposter syndrome is a natural part of evolving. If part of the person you think you want to become is a CrossFit coach or is a yoga teacher or is, a mental health coach or any of those things, you have to go through the steps of learning, and then you have to put the big boy pants on and go out and try it. And you have to fail a couple times, right? And imposter syndrome is just part of that. Means you are doing what scares you and you're going to move forward. So,
and I think
having those feelings are great.
Yeah. And
even
I
though
think
they don't feel good.
The imposter syndrome then can also feel, have that extra layer when you're actually like, I can't afford to eat. Like, I'm telling my client, to use like a US reference, I'm telling them to go to Whole Foods and get all their, organics and their, all of this sort of stuff. And I'm having 2-minute noodles because, or sitting in front of a client and feeling like you're almost begging them that they need to join. Otherwise you're not going to make rent, or, whatever it is you have to do. And you're like, and it just adds to that layer. It's like, oh, I'm coaching like in the mindset space, I'm coaching people to remove their limiting self-beliefs about money. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, but I don't have any. This is a problem. And you just feel like it's just awkward and hard. And you cannot work at your best level and be the best service you can be if your needs aren't being met.
Right. And, we talked about, I think maybe it was one of the first podcasts we did with the $1 Million Coach podcast. I know I touched on briefly, but and I spoke with you about it, Lisa, as my coach. I felt like a huge imposter and fraud. I'm sitting here going I understand the steps that need to be taken. I can help teach those to others and coach people on them, but I'm not even there yet. So I felt like such a fraud. But it's like I said, it's kind of part of the journey, and you don't have to. I think part of it is trusting the process and doing the work, and knowing that just like everything else you've built, as long as you stay committed to why you're there and what you're trying to work towards, the end result will kind of organically materialize.
Yep. I mean, I think it can. I think that this money in general is a great example of, we all have our baggage about what wealth is, what money is and what money is for. And I think anybody would say, nobody expects you to be at seminar staff level quality in terms of execution before you begin teaching other people, and so to your point, Ash, and I know you know this, there's nothing that says that I have to be closing 7 figures every year before I can talk to other coaches about the steps that I know are going to get them there.
Right.
And what was so important for me about going through the MDCP program and becoming a part of this group and then helping to design this seminar was not the money, but the paradigm shift in understanding.
Yes.
And what comes with that is the power and the freedom to execute on things like wealth creation at an individual level that I was not aware existed, or I thought it was some kind of weird magic thing that I was not capable of learning. And it is a weird journey for me. Prior to CrossFit, I was working in the oil and gas industry. So I worked for a field division. It's called Right Away. And basically, anytime there's an interstate pipeline or electrical project in the United States, there's a bunch of people who have to go out and knock on people's doors and say, hey, I'm so-and-so from such and such a company. Let me put a 3-foot wide gas pipeline in your backyard. Let's talk turkey. That was my job. And I did that first as in that particular role, and then in data services supporting that role. And in both cases, the field is very lucrative because they pay you to uproot your life and go to where that project is for whatever, 6 months to 5 years, maybe. And people stick in that industry for a long time because they need the money, they need the income. And so prior to CrossFit, I was already closing 6 figures every single year. And I went from 6 figures December of 2017 to January of 2018, sub-poverty level income. And, immediately, so I'm in the state of Massachusetts, I'm collecting unemployment, I'm collecting, I'm on mass health, which is, public health care, and just trying to figure it out. And I had accepted the fact that money at that scale would never be a part of my life again. And it has taken a bit. It's taken years now to get to the point where I understand and have learned skill sets that make it so that, no, actually, that is within my reach. I can support my family. I can affect massive change in people's lives and not have to sacrifice my own to do so.
And I think, some of it comes down to understanding your value and your worth, and that what you actually do is valuable. Because, when we think about, and I know we've used this reference before on one of the 15 million podcasts that I've sat in on with various people, but, when you go to a heart surgeon because they're going to save your life, you expect to pay big money. And they charge that without a shadow of a doubt. And they're driving in their Lexuses and their Mercedes and everything else, and they're rocking in, and because they know that what they do, like, how much will you pay to extend your life? Well, just take my money. As coaches, we forget that we're doing something just as important and just as valuable. We are saving and extending lives. And in fact, probably, hopefully, at some point, doing the heart surgeon out of a little bit of business. But we struggle with seeing our own value and communicating that value to people in a way that they will be like, wow, I need you, take my money. Instead, you trade time for money, hours for money, and it's like, oh, okay, well, $25 an hour. And in your heart of hearts that if I sell you a PT package, for example, it's not just that hour that I spend with you. It is, prep time before, it's thinking about it after. If you've got a really small client base that you're, giving really good service to, you think about them all the time. Like, as an affiliate owner, like, every single one of my members was like my kids, and we used to jokingly call them that, but you would think about them, you would worry about them when you didn't see them in class, and then when you work out what you're actually, like, the rate that you're doing it, and then you're sitting across the table almost wishing and begging someone to pay you $55 a week. And then you think, and then someone goes, no, it's not worth that. Oh, gets you in the feels big time, because you're like, well, I think I'm worth it. And you get to the point of thinking and then wondering, rather than, yeah, I know I'm worth it and it's valuable and what we do. Why can't you see it? Because we don't know how to communicate it. But we also don't know how to believe within ourselves that we deserve that.
And not just that. I mean, we operate in an industry where more often than not, people are, affiliate owners through no fault of their own, except that they most don't go out of their way to understand a different way to do business, operate in an industry where we are racing to the bottom in terms of pricing and trying to figure out after the fact what value we can bring to the table. And to your point about, Mercedes and Lexuses, this is not to say that I'm trying to, as coaches, you should be proud of what you do, and it doesn't mean that you have to go out seeking status symbols like cars and things like that. But we are absolutely partaking in preventative health care. And, over the longer time span, yes, I hope we do, undo some of the business that both the healthcare industry and doctors might take advantage of. And that's not to say that they won't have plenty of work. They will have plenty of work, But
go on.
No, finish.
No, I was just going to say, it's that, and I know we've spoken about this before, it's become fitness has become such a commoditized space. And unfortunately, CrossFit affiliates and coaches have fallen into that, selling widgets. So someone comes in, we're gonna get you fit. You're gonna do burpees. You're gonna do thrusters, and and with all and you can get on these fancy bikes we've got in these rowers and and look at our stall mats and look at this, look at that. It's all shiny. Great. They're watts. Like, when we flip and start getting to know the people in front of us and their whys and, what hurts, like what hurts you? What hurts right now?
Yeah.
And, let me help. Because really, if you go to the heart surgeon and say, that's a problem, apparently something's leaking where it shouldn't out of a valve, he's going to fix that. He doesn't care about your dogs, your cats, your kids, what you do, how you grew up, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your spouse. He's going in, he or she will go in and go, I'm going to fix that hole, and that's it. What about sorry, I thought my dog just jumped through a wall there. It's crazy here in Australia. Not about all the other things that go into that, because then it's like, well, no, you only paid me to fix the hole. Whereas we are fixing relationships and bringing families together and making people happy and confident. They have better sex. They turn on the lights. They don't hate themselves. Like, fuck.
Well, and I think fitness was looked at, and I don't know when or how this happened, but I think it's more looked at as a privilege you get to have and not something, if your heart's leaking, you have to get it serviced, right? Let's look at it like that. Well, if I'm out of shape, winded when I walk up the stairs, can't travel because I can't sit for too long comfortably in a car, I have back pain, I have this, I have that. It's not looked at as a priority of I need to fix myself. It's like everything else comes first for some reason. And I think, us as coaches have realized how important that is and how much it can change your life. It's not just about, it's not about being skinny. It's not about being faster or anything like that. It's about your overall health and how it changes your outlook on life, how it changes the way you treat others, how you treat yourself, and therefore changes everything else in your life. If we look at ourselves as coaches as providing that, I mean, we can't charge enough, right?
I agree. And I think what's really interesting about like the thing with the doctor is like, you need that. Like you got a leak in your valve or something like that. The doctor's going to fix it. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Which is why the doctor gets to charge whatever he wants. Because if you don't get that, you die, right? Humans are amazing at enduring, and the human body is an adaptation machine. Give it a stimulus and it will acclimate. And so when you get a little bit creaky in the knee, or you get a little bit winded as you go up the stairs, you write it off as, I'll get used to it. And you do. You get used to it. You work.
Well, you start to work around.
Exactly. You work your whole
figure
life
out
around it. Yeah.
How to get to a lift and use the flat path and to not do things that are going to irritate. So you stop doing the things which eventually, stop doing the things for long enough, you are going to wind up in one or another surgeon's or doctor's room with something that's going to cost you a whole hell of a lot more, that if 10, 15, 20 years earlier that you'd started, or even for some people, even more recently, if you'd started on that path. It's, and that's part of the I guess the goal of the, well, not I guess, I know, the goal of the $1 Million Coach or the 6-Figure Coach Seminar and the $1 Million Coach online program is we teach you how to communicate that, and not giving you a system to say, here's a template for an Instagram post that you should write, or a story, or here's 50 real templates for you. We teach you how to access your own, inner knowledge and skills, and how to communicate in your way. It's not, again, I'm not, because we talk about coaching versus teaching, and we're not going to be gurus and just say, here's the template.
Mm.
But it's that challenging thing because we get so afraid of no one's going to pay me that.
Yeah.
Or, feeling almost, I guess, unseen.
Mhm.
So, I'll talk about my experience, as the affiliate owner and as a coach, like you put in all this time to people, you shed tears over them, you worry about them, you check in on them, and then all of a sudden one day someone will go, I just don't have time. I need to cancel. And it's just that, or, oh, look, I think I need that, $50 a week to get my hair done or whatever it happens to be. And you just like you meant so much to me as a human, not just as a client.
Yeah.
But then you sort of realize it becomes a transactional, therefore commoditized relationship. And it's very different in a CrossFit gym with CrossFit coaches. Versus
It can be.
It should be that it's not that transactional relationship that you would have at a Globo gym where you walk in, swipe your card, 18-year-old Julie at the counter goes, "Hi, Sam, great to see you," only because your face just popped up on a screen.
Yeah.
Knows nothing about you or what
Hi,
you're going to go in. Are you just
Sam.
going, yeah. Are you going to go and sit on the roller for an hour and scroll your Instagram and work? And as you walk out, do you have a great workout? Yeah, yeah. No one knows. No one cares. So it has the potential, and we know it's there, and there are many people doing it, but it's just getting out of our own way to communicate the power of that.
Well, it's not just getting out of our own way to communicate that. I mean, it's getting out of our own way in basically every way possible.
Mm.
And I say flippantly, CrossFit gyms can have that effect, but it's not guaranteed. Like I've been inside of affiliates where it was clear that the coach running the class did not care if I was there or not. There was zero coaching. There was zero instruction that went with anything. It was, this is what's on the whiteboard. You do this. I'll come and talk to you in 10 minutes when it's time to do the workout. There was no brief. There was no understanding. So just because you're a CrossFit coach, even if you're level 2, level 3, like that doesn't entitle you to shit. And that's one of the things that is at the core of this program is you are entitled to nothing. Your ability to create revenue is directly proportional to your ability to provide value. And how you do that can happen in a bunch of different ways, depending on what works for you. If you're part of an affiliate, if they're not part of an affiliate, there's a lot of ways to do it, but you don't get to not provide value. In fact, spoiler alert for anybody who's going to show up here, and I hope to God you show up, because I'm not trying to scare you away. I'm trying to hold my hand out and pull you up to the next level. You need to find a way to provide more value, not less, and get paid more. Provide more. And it's a huge shift. And when you own that, when you own the fact that it's like that patch, expect to self-rescue. No one is coming. Like, when you own that, and exactly, like, it's in your hands, and that is terrifying and liberating at the same time.
Yeah, it's not in the hands of your affiliate owner to hand it to you. It's not in the hands of CrossFit to hand it to you. Just because you have a variety of letters next to your name, that, I ran an affiliate for 7.5 years, and I have never had a person ask me what level I was or what specialty courses I'd been to. Nope. Like, no one even asked for any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's having that doesn't entitle you going, yeah, well, I'm just going to come in. I'm a level 3, so I should get, $200 an hour. Well, what are you doing for that? Like, you're sitting at the front of the class, drinking your coffee and just walking around going, well, I'm a level 3. That's not really going to, cut much shit. You're not in there fixing people's hearts. Like, you're not actually, it'll be like the heart surgeon going in and going, oh yeah, there's a hole there. I'm just going to put a bit of a plug in it and I'm out, rather than Let's clean up the surrounding area. Let's stop it reforming. Let's stitch it properly. Let's seal it properly. I guess something that I really want to touch on as well today too, and I know that this will resonate out there, even if people are like going, well, I'm not putting my hand up, my head's down, I don't want to know, is, how hard is it for you to operate as an effective coach when your basic needs are not being met? How did it feel for you? And I'll ask both of you this question. Like, if your needs are not being met, so you're struggling with finance and so that inhibits your ability to live reasonably. Let's not even say well, let's say reasonably. How does that impact you in delivering a service, delivering value, but also all of your other relationships and interactions and how you feel about yourself? Go.
Ash, you want this one first? You want me to go?
Yeah, I'll take that first. I kind of want to touch on something you said earlier, but I'll put a pin in
do
it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we'll go back to that question, but just to piggyback, Sam, off of what have you just had said, and that you're not trying to scare anybody, you're trying to pull them, right? So if you have $1 million, you're a level 3 and you've done every course in the book and you have all sorts of letters and numbers behind your name, and certifications, and you're not creating that wealth that you're looking for, and you're wondering why, this is the course you need. So if you're like, well, maybe I'm not doing enough, but I'm kind of scared to find that out. No, this is the action step you have to take to figure out the best way for you to be able to implement and teach and share and create that value. So just because you don't know how to do it now, or you're not getting it, don't be afraid of it. If you've got it all, this is the thing you've been waiting
next step.
for.
And it's that clarity, isn't it, Ash, around rather than going, well, I'm going to try and do all the things that everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
This course is going to give you the clarity to know what is the way that you want to communicate it. You're not going to try and be the next, great.
I'm not going to try and be Sam, because I'm not Sam. I'm not going to try and figure out exactly what he did and do it exactly that way. I'm going to dig a little deeper inside me and figure out what is best for me to help others create value, to create value for others. Okay.
Perfect.
Back to your question. What was it again?
What was the first flavor? It's about that. How does it feel for you?
Yeah.
Or how did it limit you? Or, well, how did it feel? Like, you're a coach, your needs are not being met. So you're coaching somebody on something, and meanwhile in the back of your head, like, oh, I don't want to answer that phone call. It'll be someone, chasing some money for something, or, I'm going home to eat 2-minute noodles by myself. Like, how does that affect everything for you?
Can I go on a Tony rant a little bit here and maybe take up some time?
The floor is yours.
He's not here. All right. Well, I'm going to kind of go to the beginning again and touch on something you also said earlier about, the hustle and the grind. I think when we start this, and Sam might be able to relate to this a little bit, we assume oh, I had this $1 million corporation job or whatever, but I love coaching and I love this and I'm passionate, I'm going to do it. And you kind of automatically doing that, I feel like we all just go, okay, well, this is something I really like and it's fun, so I'm not going to make money. Why? There are billionaires that are in love with everything that they do, right? Why can't we be just like that? But that's just seems to be the natural thought that comes along. So we hustle, we grind, we pick up the PT hours, we take the extra classes, we try to get to, as many gyms as we can or whatever. Okay, digressing, moving on. And that's where I started at my CrossFit affiliate. I took some classes, I worked yoga classes at other studios, I took PT clients, and then I just tried to take on more. And I worked my way up to the general manager at my affiliate. I was on a salary. And even with the salary, I was not making my ends meet. So with a full-time salary, I still needed PT clients in order to get enough just to get by. And what does that do? Makes you lose patience. It discourages creativity. All the things that you need to create value and provide value for others go by the wayside because you're stuck in the daily grind and just feeling like I just have to do the things that are going to get me by to get that next paycheck, even though that paycheck is not fulfilling you.
And how can you find more hours in your day? Like
exactly. So it's like, oh, I have a full-time job and yet I'm still trying to find more. So it pulled me away from my family. It sacrificed all my friendships. I was moody. You know, everything that's not conducive to growth is basically where I got to. It was burnout. Right. And, you know, and then you're hard on yourself because, like, maybe I didn't do enough. Right. How did I not create enough value to make enough money? And then, you know, you get in that, you know, mindset and it's just like you go down the rabbit hole. And it's not a healthy place to be, but it's a place that I've been more times than I wish to admit. And you know, I'm still digging my way out, but I feel like with the MDCP course after going through that, like I feel I can see the light and I feel hope again of like because there was a point where I was like, maybe I'm gonna have to get a real job, and do this on the side. Right. And you don't have to. It's not gonna happen overnight, but you don't need to.
You're doing yourself a disservice. And so the people who need you, who really need you, and who would not feel comfortable perhaps with another coach, who could not maybe be the coach they need in that moment, all of a sudden you're not there and they don't have that. So you're doing yourself a disservice because then you're not living to your values. What have you got on that one, Sam?
I mean, I love what Ash is saying here, and I'm zeroing in on a couple things. You know, that frustration of I'm not making ends meet. I'm doing the thing that I love, but it's not giving me what I need. You know, and so you tell yourself, well, these are the things I have to do, right? I have to do, and it's yes and no, right? Like, again, going back to the ecosystem, like your affiliate owner is not going to come save you.
Right.
Like your affiliate owner can't, because your affiliate owner is probably too busy trying to figure out how to keep the lights on and keep the doors open to help come supplement your income. And you know, that's a whole other subject. You know, I not being able to make ends meet. I come from a very, very specific how do I want to phrase this? Like, I have a very specific mindset when it comes to this, and probably some of that is born out of the fact that, like, you know, very early in my coaching, I was also early in sobriety, and things got boiled down to very basic details for me. You know, there's this much money coming in and this much money coming out. This has got to go up or this has got to go down. And so I'm very black and white.
You can cut.
Well, there is that. That's the first thing you got to do. Like, you have to sit and be honest. Like, am I being a fucking idiot with my money? Like, and that's a question we should all ask ourselves periodically, right? Once you've addressed that, then it's okay. The next bit: how do I trade more hours for more dollars? And that is the system. In the same way that the way that you coach is the way that you coach, until somebody shows you that there's a different way. Very few people have the built-in forethought to think outside of that box. And I know that I didn't have that. And, you know, when I transitioned into coaching full time, I also started dating the woman who would become my wife. And my goal was just pay for your expenses. Pay for your expenses. And so, like, we were living together, and, you know, building our life together, but I was living as small as possible. And part of that is the baggage that is being a man and not making a lot of money, right? So there's all of that stuff that deserved to be unpacked and was. And, you know, it's uncomfortable and it's hard, and every no you take personally. And you know for a fact that what you are doing is vitally important to these people and they need it. And yet I still struggled to wrap my head around a way to convince them that, you know, I was worth more than $60 an hour for personal training, because I didn't have the language necessary to communicate value, you know. And
you probably didn't feel that valuable at that time either.
I mean, there's that too, but like, you know, I felt it, but I didn't allow that to be, one, big enough, but also two, if I'm honest with myself, the Sam of a couple years ago who was charging $60 an hour and the Sam of right now who does not at all charge $60 an hour, I was not providing the level of service that I was capable of. And that's something that I have to own. And once I really started to step that up, it was like, okay, like how far can I take this? And one of the most powerful things I heard Tony say recently was, like, once you set money aside and you identify the highest level of service that you want to provide, you very quickly realize that anything below that is unacceptable.
And Sam, when you did the $60 an hour, you said you weren't providing, you know, the fullest service to your potential. I know, you know, for me, you're working so many hours and you're trading the hours for dollars. So you kind of can't, you're at your capacity of what you can give too. Was that part of it for you? Like, I know for me, that was part of it as well.
Yes and no. Like, there was a switch. There was a time when I was like, I got to stop doing this other stuff. And I had to say no to something to say yes to doing more over here. And that's an uncomfortable little switch. Like, you got to be careful when you make that over. And, you know, my parents used to, my parents used to call it the float. Back when you could pay everything with checks, my parents, you know, and this is exactly the kind of family I was a part of growing up, was we were very much lower middle class, and we, you know, it would, God bless my mother, she knew exactly when she could write a check for something and, you know, date it for a couple of days and the money would be there when it was cashed. But they played that game, you know. And so maybe you have to do a float where you transition over from one month to the next. But I have never regretted saying no to more hours so that I could say yes to more value. And, you know, if you think of the Pareto principle, you know, 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of your clients anyway, you know? And so then it becomes, it's not like sometimes it's not a one-to-one where it's like hour, dollar. Well, some hours are worth more than that, you know? And if I can maximize those hours, I have to say no to those other ones, but it's okay, you know? And so figuring out that system and understanding what worked for me, how much could I, you know, leverage that, and, you know, identifying those clients and saying no to clients who, you know, I'm there and I'm screaming at them, let me help you. They don't give a shit. You know, there's some people who just want to come in and pay $200 a month for open gym. There are some people who desperately want to change their lives and they're sick and tired of being miserable and not getting the progress that they want, and they need a coach. They need and they want a coach. Those are my people. Because if you give me, you give me 12 weeks and you let me help you design a program that's going to work for you and your schedule for workouts, design a program that's going to work for you and your nutritional needs. We're going to check in once a week. You're going to get, you know, like gratitude work and mindset work. You give me 12 weeks and I will change your life. But if you come in and you give 20% effort, like you can do that for a year and you might not move that far.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say that that's the wrong, I'm sorry. That's not to say that that's the wrong way to go about that. Like it's different for every person. But it, like an hour is an hour is an hour for me as a coach. And especially now that I've got children, like I am very conscious of where I'm spending that time because I don't get it back. That never comes back. You know?
And you want that maximum return on investment for, I'm going to invest this time in myself or in a client, and you want to get maximum return on that. Like, you know, early in my journey when I was like, I would travel twice a week. I would travel 2.5 hours to a town west of where I lived to run a boot camp because that's the only place I could get clients. Some friends set it up. And basically, I was working for $60, which probably didn't even really cover my fuel. And it took out my whole day because I had to get up at 3 a.m., hit the road, boot camp at 5. You know, by the time I got back, it was lunchtime. Then I was so tired, did nothing. Like that was my whole day for $60. And, you know, they were doing a $10 boot camp. And I know I went above and beyond, but it led to that being resentful about, you know, if someone then came to that and they wanted something from you or they complained, and it's like I'm coming out here and I'm making a loss. Like I'm not even covering my fuel, like what the actual, but it was the only work that I thought that I could get at that time. It's like, well, here's a group that want me to train them. So, you know, I'm going to go do that, even though it wasn't what, you know, made me happy. But I was like, well, I have to make money. Like I have to generate income. And
at
you know,
any expense.
At any expense. Like when you do the maths, you're like, not real smart. You know, you're sleeping in your car in between clients because, you know, you're exhausted and, you know, you pick up one PT, so oh, that's great. That's now 120 for the day. I've made $60 for the day. When you spread that out over the day, it was about $5 an hour that I'd worked out. I was like, my whole day was worth. And I became resentful. It's like, oh, I hope that client cancels. I don't want to go. Or, oh, look, I think it's going to be raining, guys. I won't be out there. And you start to recycle like, yeah, this is a program we're going to do. And you just start to dial it in. And it just isn't, you don't walk away from the session feeling good about what you did. You feel like, well, I'm a shitty trainer. I wasn't at my best today. I was a bit short. I was this. And then they didn't have a great experience. And all because nobody was valuing anything.
Not to mention the fact that you have reinforced their idea that fitness is not something to be valued.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, like why would I pay you $60 for a one-on-one when I could just come to the group and there's 3 of us in the group and that's $10 each? Like, sweet.
Well, and now we're back to you as a coach. You got to understand what you're giving away. You know, like, and this is not to say that people should nickel and dime each other. Like, but as coaches, no one is ever going to advocate for us as much as we can, and frankly should. Your affiliate owner might, he or she might be able to do something like that, but that's only if they've got their shit figured out. If they're still living in their own trauma and baggage about trying to race to the bottom of providing, you know, the most possible value for the cheapest possible cost, like they don't have the room in the overhead to be able to help you out. You know?
But by working together and understanding these lessons that, you know, we talk about and the mindset part of the course, as well as, you know, our pillars, you can actually go back and be a force of good for your affiliate owner and help them as well. Because, hey, I know my value. I'm going to charge these things and you're going to start to make some money off that. And, hey, let me show you, or, hey, you need to go do this course because I did it and it's, you know, changed my life. It's, you can be a force for good and that ripple effect can go out more than just I'm making money and helping clients, like you can help your whole tribe and community. One of the, when I moved out of the affiliate, transitioned out and started working for Fit Affiliate, coaching, one of the things that I attached to, I guess, is that in my affiliate, I could probably help, 70 to 100 people change their lives at any one given time, depending where the membership was. And knowing how powerful CrossFit was, which is why I got into CrossFit and why I opened the affiliate, I wanted people to change and save their lives. If I help 5 affiliate owners run amazing affiliates, then that's potentially 500 to 1,000 people who have the opportunity to have their lives changed and saved by CrossFit because of that 5 hours a week rather than, and not that it's 5 hours a week, but, working with those affiliate owners and coaches, then their families are better and I can impact so many more lives in a fraction of the time. And when you stop trading time for money, and you realize that your time is much more valuable. Like I was being paid more as a coach of affiliate owners than I ever was as a PT. It blew my mind. I was like, oh, I have a skill that's actually worth something, and it takes some time to resonate that. And, I always struggle with asking, making a high ticket sale or asking people for money because I'm like, well, they're not going to pay that. Like, because I wasn't having my needs met, so I wouldn't have been able to pay that. So, Sam, if I said that I wanted to work with you and, I need your help and I know what your program's worth, and I was like, well, I can't afford that. So why would I charge? Because my needs are not being met because I can't afford it. So why would someone else afford it? And you just feel, to be perfectly blunt, you just feel shitty about yourself. Self-esteem drops. You're in the worst place than what your client is who's coming to see you, and nobody's winning. Nobody's winning. So we've kind of, talked a lot around this topic today. Do you guys, before we stick a pin in it, have any sort of final thoughts about, the peril of being a broke coach and, why we want to change that?
Ash?
Well, why we want to change it, because we are very much needed in the world. It's a whole nother rabbit hole you can go down, but health and mental health and wellness overall has been overlooked. We have apps, we have everything in the touch of a button. And the bottom line is you cannot replace your overall life experience, health, creativity, life, mindset, your whole well-being in a touch of a button. So we will always be needed and we are valuable. And there's a lot of people who can relate to you as an individual. And, we all have something that we can give. And there's just such a need for us that we need you to not give up on yourself so that we can help as many people as possible. And, let us help you so that.
Because there's someone out there who needs your voice. There's someone out there who needs a Sam, who needs an Ash, who potentially needs a Lisa. And the people that need an Ash don't necessarily need a Sam or wouldn't connect with Sam. So if you fold up your toys and hide away, like the people that need you will never find you.
Yeah.
Sam?
I mean, we have a saying in AA, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and is expecting different results.
Mm-hmm.
What got you to where you are right now will not get you to where you want to get to. And Tony talked about this last week, and I don't think it can be said enough. Like your weightlifting cert, your gymnastics cert, your, whatever specialty program, like they entitle you to nothing. They bestow amazing, amazing amounts of knowledge upon you, and then also take for granted the fact that you understand how to value, package, and sell that. Like there's not anywhere written in any of the contracts or agreements that you sign when you attend those courses where it says this is worth X amount of additional money per year.
Right.
They just assume that you are going to be a responsible entrepreneur.
And use it.
And use it, absolutely. And so, to Ash's point earlier, the reason that we created this is because no one else is talking about this. No one else is talking about how to bridge the gap between all the stuff that exists in our head and how to leverage that so that you don't have to be eating instant ramen. That's not to say that you can't. I love me some instant ramen, but
Doesn't
we
have
want
to
you to
be-
have, we want you to have options. And so,
and we don't want you to get overwhelmed with thinking, and, we talk about it on the Fit Affiliate podcast about, everyone's inboxes are filled with, let me give you the secret to more leads. And, as a coach, it's like, you'll see, I'll give you the, secrets to my system for a 6-figure income.
Yeah.
And when you've got nothing, oh, fuck, that's the answer. I'm going to go respond to that email. And then you realize it's just, wish in one hand, spit in the other, and see which gets full
Smoke
first.
and
Because I
mirrors.
guarantee you, it's not going to happen. But you cling to that, and that's why affiliate owners get sucked into the, I need more leads, and I need to do more of this to get people in front of me. But it's, understanding that you have the answers. We're just going to help you see them and learn how to share them with the world.
Yeah, that is the
no
premise.
Greater gift.
Yeah, that is the premise this entire thing operates on, is we believe you have the power to solve your own problem. We are not here to provide you with the solution. You can do this. We're just going to coach you into a better position.
And, we were just talking on an earlier call where it was raised, like, some people may come to the course and go, but are you going to guarantee I'm going to have a 6-figure income? Well, no, but it's up, like, your potential is unlimited based on what you do with the tools. Like, all the gear and no idea, and you sit there and do nothing with it. Like, you can have all the whiz bang, like Sam and I, we have all the whiz bang tech gear, but it doesn't mean we're becoming Joe Rogan of podcasting land. Like, but if you actually use the tools and the pillars, because we know they work, and you do the inside work and find those answers and aren't looking for the red pill or the blue pill, your potential is unlimited, but your potential to save and change lives is even more so unlimited, and probably the most important gift that you can bring to the world.
You have amazing potential. Go ahead.
No, you go. You wrap up.
I was going to say,
before we wrap.
You have amazing potential, but we will not absolve you of the responsibility to execute on that potential. We'll show you the path, but you are still the person who has to walk it.
Yep.
And we're there with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we've walked the path. Like, we, and we continue to walk the path. None of us is, saying that our journey's over. We're all still working our way through our own stuff and values and beliefs. And that's why, I think this podcast has resonated with a lot of people, because we're 3 real individuals that go, hey, we're not doing this seminar because we've got all the answers, but we've walked some of the path. We can help you navigate around some of those potholes. I have loved this podcast today, as always. And, I might be a little bit biased because I get the privilege of coaching you both each week, but, I have seen you guys walk this path and navigate through this process. And I am, like a proud mother bear, like seeing you guys put this stuff out into the world and bring it to life, but also the way that you can dig in and we can have these conversations and we can bring this stuff to life and see how it resonates. So thank you for always bringing your honesty and your vulnerability and your thoughts and your wisdom to these calls and these recordings. It's a massive, massive highlight of my week, and I'm super privileged that I get to sit here and watch you guys shine every week. So well done, team.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks,
Pleasure
Lisa.
to be here.
It's early in the week. I'm still being nice. I'm not tired yet. All right, kids. Don't forget, guys, please also subscribe, follow us on your favorite platform. If you know of a coach that could benefit, please give it a share, send them your favorite episode. But if you're in an area where you can get to Atlanta for that seminar, please click on the link, register. You will not regret it. You'll be the first of the first, so you won't have FOMO. There's a special introductory rate. It won't ever be that price again, and not that it's about pricing, but you just want to be part of this. It's going to be powerful, and it has the potential to change your life and your trajectory and the life of many people around you. Yeah. So
excited.
Get on it. Get on it. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Lisa.